Hey, so today I'm going to be talking about the menopause and why we hang on to belly fat and why it seems that our midriffs just become barrel-like or bigger no matter what we try and do. Menopause is something I've taken a very natural approach to. I think there's a lot of medicalization of our various passages through life. I believe that you can navigate the menopause naturally. But I think in order to do so, it's very tightly linked to how we live our lifestyle. I appreciate there are different theories out there, but certainly I think there is a natural approach. We are part of our evolution. I'm one of the healthiest, fittest people I know, and I feel amazing going through the menopause. So I wanted to share a little bit about the way our adrenal glands work in the body and how that's linked into lifestyle and stress and how that makes us suffer more menopausal symptoms. One of the biggest menopausal, or one of the most common menopausal symptoms, is hot flashes, and they're the sort of thing that I started to get in my mid to late 30s. I would wake up during the night with a night sweat. I'd be literally saturated through. It was awful. And I can't remember, I was going to the doctors for some random routine checkup or something, and she was talking to me about my overall health. And I said, well, I wake up with these terrible night sweats. And she said, oh, you're way too young to be menopausal. Can't possibly be menopause. And I did some research, and I didn't get myself tested, but I was convinced it was the menopause. My periods were erratic, and soon after they stopped. She said I was too young. I know people way younger than their mid-30s who've gone through the menopause already. Essentially, when our eggs run out, that's it, bingo. So you're either premenopausal or perimenopausal. Perimenopausal is when you're running up, so your eggs are starting to not be quite as healthy. They're starting to run out in number. And then we have one day that is actually our menopause. Not a lot of people realise this. I didn't to begin with. The one day that signifies our menopause is 12 months after your last period. Thereafter, you're postmenopausal. So if you're no longer having periods, you are now postmenopausal. And I still get some hot flushes, but when I made the lifestyle changes that I did, my night sweats went, and I've got my hot flashes down to an absolute minimum now. And I know I've tracked it, so I know what sets them off. So I thought, well, I'm just going to share that with you because it might be something that you're able to help remedy yourself. And I'm a full proponent for going the natural way if you're able to. But, understand everybody has their own opinion. Not out there to diss any type of theory. So there's been a lot of research pointing towards the fact that our adrenal glands actually help back up the job of the ovaries. So when our ovaries start to reduce the amount of estrogen they're producing and progesterone, our adrenal glands actually back up the job of the ovaries. But that's in a natural healthy person who's not stressed out. Now, our modern day lifestyles cause us to get seriously stressed really fast because we're constantly stressed. Whether it's a not very nice boss, whether you're just busy at work with the best boss on the planet, whether you want to get a job and you can't get a job, whether you're worried about finances. Menopause also happens to come at a time of our lives when we might have children leaving home, empty nesting and adjusting to that, and waving your loved ones off to university, and the grief that comes with that. Relationships change. The divorce rate is very high when you get to midlife because of the fact that often if you've had children at home, you may have been staying together for the sake of the kids, or you may realise that there's just two of you left in the house anymore, and actually you don't even know who you are. You don't know who you are, and you don't actually recognise the partner that you fell in love with and walked down the aisle with all those years ago. Or, you don't have to be married, but, cohabiting. So there's a huge amount of stressors in our life. On top of that, we are bombarded with processed food, alcohol, drugs. It's actually really tricky to Well, no, it's not really tricky. You can easily do it, but there's a lot of temptations out there which are going to lead to stress. Even something as simple as having a really busy day at work, coming home, having a glass of wine or a bottle of beer or a couple, whatever your tipple is, sticking on the television, and then you're watching the television, you're sort of like spoon feeding yourself a microwave meal because you can't be bothered to cook anything. And so you're feeding yourself with a load of rubbish. Your brain is just gone like, you're in zombie land because you're watching this rubbish on the television, and then you're too tired to actually turn the telly off and go to bed. But eventually, of course, you do, or you fall asleep in front of the television, and then you wake up in the early hours and you're freezing cold and you feel awful and you have to get up and repeat the whole same old thing the next day. Our food labelling also is incredibly misleading. It drives me nuts. There's very little regulation out there. I resisted learning how to read food labels for ages. I just thought, first of all, I've got to put my reading glasses on to see it, and it's just like, what the heck does it mean? And yeah, these things are being marketed as natural or organic or earthy or healthy, and you look at the stuff on the back and they are just not healthy at all. Like a lot of places or hotels or a lot of people start their day off with a glass of orange juice. That is just sugar. Ugh. If you want orange, eat an orange because the fibre helps reduce that blood sugar spike. But orange juice, it is just so high in sugar. It's got about the same amount as a can of Coke. Honestly, it's just crazy. A lot of our tin foods like tomato soup, some baked beans, things like that. Have a look at the amount of sugars on the back. It's scary. Go for the low sugar option if you can, or even better, make it yourself from home. So just going back to the adrenal glands. And by the way, if you've got friends or family who are going through the menopause and you think this might be helpful with them, please share it with them, because not many people understand the link between our adrenal health. So essentially, when we're being bombarded on every level with these different stressors and we're tired, our adrenal glands get a real battering. And our adrenal, when we're in constant stress, whatever that stress is, we are releasing cortisol. Well, our adrenal glands, they're sat just above our kidneys. When they're releasing cortisol all the time, they get really tired. Well, if they're tired, that means they can't do the job of backing up the ovaries, which is why our symptoms are magnified. Because in a normal, healthy cave woman who, her life is, not without stress, of course, but a lot type of different stress that we have these days. At least she's eating healthy, fresh food. And she's probably getting the sleep that she needs. Our adrenal glands just get tired. And so we're constantly bombarding them. Now, adrenal fatigue is the far end of the spectrum. If you've got adrenal fatigue, you probably need to lie in bed and sleep for about 3 days. And to be honest, if you can actually go to bed and sleep for 3 days straight, you probably need to do it. If you're in bed for 8 hours and you just think, oh no, I'll just snooze a bit longer, that's not adrenal fatigue. Adrenal fatigue is really serious. And really the only way to try and overcome that is to rest, allow your body to rest, de-stress, zen out, get into nature, get rid of your phone, get rid of all the things that create electromagnetic fields, and just de-stress for a while. If you can, go to the mountains or go to the beach. Being near water is incredibly beneficial for you. So that's, just going over the reasons that you may get various stressors in your life. And also something I just want to add, staying stuck in a bad relationship is chronic stress. I know a lot of people are afraid, because I'm a psychotherapist too, a lot of people are afraid of leaving the relationship because they have to face with the divorce, the settlement, losing their family home. But having been there and done it, I can tell you that those stressy days, they were hard, but thank goodness I decided to go for it and just make that change. Because if I'd have stayed stuck, I think I would have gone into the loony bin. I actually think I really would have struggled. My mental health would have been seriously battered as a result of staying in a relationship which is not healthy. So sometimes you are better to face the stress of getting out and then enjoy the long-term benefit of that. Just a little side note. So unfortunately also, So there's a couple of reasons why we store fat around our belly. So when you're eating processed foods, sugars, blah de blah de blah, you're spiking your blood sugar levels, which causes insulin to be released into the bloodstream, and insulin is our fat storing hormone. And cortisol causes all that to happen because, particularly, say if we were in the olden days, being chased by a saber-toothed tiger, our adrenal glands are going to release cortisol because cortisol releases glucose into our blood, so we're fired up so we can run or we can fight. But of course we don't need that anymore. It's probably a deadline that we're missing and we're getting really stressed about, and we're not actually running it off. Exercise is incredibly beneficial to help you gobble up cortisol. So, when you've got the stress but you've not got the physical reaction to help get rid of that stress, and of course exercise also releases feel-good hormones, that's when you have this cumulative effect of stress and your adrenals get tired, but you start to put on belly fat. It's just like, where the heck is this coming from? Well, fat around our belly, unfortunately, has got 4 times the amount of cortisol receptors than any other fat cells in our bodies. So when you're stressed, that is when you're likely to start to get fat around your belly. The other reason is another really sensible evolutionary reason, is the fact all our vital organs are stored within the core section of our body. Well, you imagine if all your fat was sort of held in your fingers, it's going to take a lot of energy for the body to actually transport that fat as energy to your vital organs. So that's another reason why we store fat around our middles, because it's easier to get access to that in times of lean, in times of stress, when the body is trying to keep itself safe and on survival mode. So that's another reason why we tend to hang on to belly fat. There are lifestyle changes that I suggest that if you want to do it naturally, the menopause naturally, if you want to reduce all of the symptoms that you're getting with menopause, it's really, really simple. Cut out processed food or seriously reduce processed food. Have the occasional treat, but keep it as a treat and not as the normal. Reduce sugar as much as you can. Mind what alcohol you drink, because definitely that puts weight on around your belly. Caffeine can trigger hot flashes. Spices can trigger hot flashes. Obviously, stressful situations can. If you're hungry, it can trigger a hot flash. If you're thirsty, it can trigger a hot flash. And often when we're thirsty, we've already started to become dehydrated. So, it's not just that feeling of hot. It's that, I don't know about you, I feel like quite yucky when I'm having a hot flash. Or flush. So I'm saying them both because I work with so many people in the States and Canada as well, and we talk about it a lot. So I've sort of become hot, flush, flashy. So it's, if you can eat 3 decent meals a day and have a couple of snacks in between, snacks that contain boron, which is a trace mineral, are incredibly helpful when you're going through the menopause. Things like dates, raisins, cashews, almonds, Brazil nuts, walnuts, avocados, lentils, chickpeas, potatoes, those contain a reasonable amount of boron. I think you only need about 3 milligrams a day, but boron's incredibly important. I eat dates every single afternoon, and I also eat almonds literally nearly all the time. Dates and almonds are my go-to snack. I also take a daily it's like a superfood shake, but it has 8 adaptogen herbs in it, and they are incredibly good at helping with hormonal balance. They also help us to cope with stress more easily. We even have people in our organisation who were depressed, suicidally depressed, and they put their success of getting over their mental health problems down to these adaptogen herbs that we drink daily. We have, if I can remember them, cordyceps, which is just like this super ninja. I love it. Ashwagandha, you may have heard of that one. There's a lot written about ashwagandha and the benefit for hormonal balance. Reishi, Maca, energy, Maytake, Chaga, Shisandra. Have I done them all? I can't remember. But if you want the full breakdown of those adaptogen herbs and why they're so beneficial for you, just DM me and I'll send you some more information on it. They are incredibly, incredibly powerful things that grow above the tree line. The reason they're so good to us to help us deal with stress and hormonal balance is the fact that they grow above the vegetation line. You can buy the cheap derivatives on the market. China is flooding the market at the moment. They're not going to do you any good because they're not being grown in the right conditions. They have to be grown in their current country of origin, like Peru, above the tree line. That's when you get those stress adapting properties in it, and that's why they're fairly pricey, but they work. I mean, give me something natural over something fake any day. They're not that expensive, but you know, your health is your greatest wealth as far as I'm concerned. So I drink my daily adaptogen herbs, and I have to say they make a massive difference. But also it's really important that when we're menopausal, we have daily regular exercise. And that should include some aspect of weight training, because as we go through the menopause, you may well already know it, you might get achy joints, but you also get brittle bones. The GPs will say go on HRT to prevent osteoporosis or osteopenia, which is like the softening of bones. And that's down to the balance of our osteoclasts and our osteoblasts. They're the bone making and getting rid of cells. The balance of them is affected too as we go through the menopause. Not going to go into any of that in great detail right now, but when you're doing weight-bearing exercises, you are constantly strengthening the bones. It's encouraging them to renew. Just as like when you use a muscle, you're breaking down the fibres, and it's when they're rebuilding that they get stronger. Same with the bone. You need to be using it. You get much greater muscle atrophy once you hit middle age. Your human growth hormone levels reduce incredibly, and so again, that contributes to muscle atrophy, wrinkles, but because you're working out, you're flooding your body with oxygen, which helps you get rid of various toxins in your body. You're sweating, you're releasing feel-good hormones, you're gobbling up stress hormones, you're helping reduce, you know, you're burning up, you're expending more energy, so you're using up more calories, and it just makes you, and it helps you sleep better. Sleep is so crucial, because if you're not sleeping well, that is another form of stress. But also while we're asleep, we tend to burn up a lot of our fat. So you lose weight when you're asleep. Plus, if you don't sleep well, you will find the day after you're reaching for all the carbs, all the quick stuff, because your body's going, I need energy immediately. And it knows that that energy lies in a cookie packet or the bag of chips or whatever it is. And so when you're hungry and you're tired, that's when you're more likely to make not quite such good decisions. So sleep is beneficial on every aspect. Also for our brain health. You know, you may be suffering with brain fog. I had brain fog terribly. I still get it a bit. But I know when I slept well, it flushes it out. And there's a lot of research that says when you sleep well, it helps reduce your risks of things like Alzheimer's, because it helps to clean the plaques that, you know, helps to prevent that plaque buildup that's associated with Alzheimer's. Drink plenty of water. To work out the amount of water that you need to drink, you need to weigh yourself in pounds, divide that by 2, and then that answer is the amount of fluid ounces you want to be drinking as a minimum daily. So if you weigh 140 pounds, that means that you should be drinking 70 fluid ounces of water every single day. So water is incredibly important. If you don't like water, add things to it. Cucumber and mint's a lovely mix. Strawberry and basil's a lovely mix. All sorts of different things. You know, try different flavours. I actually love a sparkling water with a tiny drop of rosewater essence. I think it's absolutely gorgeous. And I also love sparkling water with lime. I'm a great Prosecco fan, so anything with a bit of sparkle at the end of the day, particularly if I'm going teetotal, I make sure I stock up on sparkling water and rosewater essence, and it's my go-to, and it works incredibly well. So track. If you're really keen on improving how you react to your menopausal symptoms, track for just a few days, 5-7 days. I've even got a tracker I can send to you. If you want my tracker, it's what I share in my online boot camps. Just again, DM me that you want the tracker. I'll send that across to you. It tracks your sleep, your ablutions, your water intake, how well you've eaten that day, that sort of thing. So it's a really good idea of helping you stay on top of, you know, making sure you're ticking the right boxes for a healthy, balanced, optimal life. But when you track your food and drink, and you can then see, oh yeah, you might think, God, I had like loads of hot flashes last night. Okay, so what did you eat the night before? What did you drink the night before? So next time you eat or drink that substance, be aware, are you going to have more hot flashes again? Are you feeling irritable? Do you feel bloated? It wasn't until I started tracking food that I realised that rice makes me really, really bloated. I had no idea beforehand. Tracking food revealed so many different things to me. It was fascinating, and also it helped me work out what made me put on weight and what helped me lose weight really quickly. So just be mindful of those things. It's nothing amazing. There is no magic bullet. It is a combination of reducing sugars, reducing processed food, focusing sleep. Have some micro moments during the day, or meditate if you can meditate. You know, just if you don't need ages. Just take a bit of time out for yourself to allow your brain just to, even if it's sitting outside with a cup of tea, listening to the birds, whatever gives you peace. Make sure you're including a little bit of that every single day, because it's going to have a massive impact on your overall health. People think, I haven't got time for that. Well, why not? This is your life. This is your health. Health is the most important thing. And when you're healthy, and when you've got energy, and when you're productive, everything else falls into line so much more easily. I'm doing this on the day before I'm about to move house cross country to Cornwall. I'm surrounded by boxes. I'm running my business because I've focused on the things that have allowed me to be super productive today. And I have got a bit of brain frazzle going on, I've got to be honest. But it's controllable. When you set up that healthy framework for yourself, everything else falls into place. Life becomes easy, and it's almost like you're living it in flow rather than in constant resistance and reaction. So I hope that helped. Like I said, if you want the information on the adaptogen herbs, if you want that tracker, DM me. Alternatively, please just give me a thumbs up or a like, or share this with somebody that you know might benefit from understanding why we have our hot flashes, how it's linked to our adrenal health, and how you can help to support your adrenal glands to have a relatively symptom-free menopause. So have a great rest of your day, and thank you for your time.